It's Car Con Carne. Let's eat in the car. It's Car Con Carne. And now here's the star of our show, James Van Alstyne.
So the clock is ticking. The clock is ticking. Through the last day of this month being December, join My Buona Rewards and get a free burger or chicken sandwich. It's that simple. Join My Buona Rewards today and get free Buona. Free, Dr. Daryl Wilson.
Free.
All new members get 1,500 points. Or do you say 1,500?
1,500.
Of course you do. You're a doctor. Remember to talk directly in the
I'm sorry, I'm not talking to the microphone.
But it's not even your turn, so I'm getting carried away.
I'm going to shut up.
When you use the Buona app, which I do all the time, you can take 10% off your order with my promo code. Treat yourself to a Buona Classic. Baptize it. Get the hot giardiniera on it. By the way, I put hot giardiniera on yours, too.
Oh, that's great. That's fine.
Good. I was hoping you'd say that. Maybe get a little messy with the meatball marinara sandwich. All worth it. Have a salad, pizza, whatever, soup. Use the promo code CARNE10 at Buona. We are at the Buona in Countryside. Scenic Countryside tonight. I was here a couple weeks ago.
You were.
I was, and I couldn't help but come back.
You have to come back. This place is the place.
So I've been visiting different Buonas every week. Again, Dr. Daryl Wilson, I'll give him a formal intro in a second. Went to the one in Skokie with Herb from Liars Club and Scott from Local H and Katie from Katie's Kids. Went to the one in Mount Prospect with Ike Riley. Did Plain White Teas.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. That's
With Tom from Plain White Teas right here in Countryside. Next week, the week of New Year's, the first week of 2022, I'll be returning to the Skokie location with Urge Overkill.
Wow.
First time Car Con Carne guest, Urge Overkill.
Wow.
Chicago music superstars. And then the week after that, someone who I can't announce yet, but it'll be very exciting. So my guest tonight, well, he's a larger-than-life presence on stage and in the medical community.
Huge.
In his band, the Bollweevils, Daryl Wilson is a physical, commanding singer. As a doctor, he's been commemorated on highway billboards.
I have been on billboards, yes.
He's respected throughout the medical community. He specializes in emergency medicine, and for a lot of us music fans, he's been a voice of reason through all of this.
They're crazy.
Dr. Daryl Wilson.
Hey.
You know these are my favorite shows when I get to have you on. I appreciate you doing this. This is like the first real snow day
in
the Chicago area.
I shoveled snow. This is heart attack snow today.
Oh, right, because it's all wet and heavy.
Yes, it was wet and heavy. I'm like, oh my God, add this to the pandemic. Mm-hmm. Now heart attacks, too. Come on.
Right.
Can you just, this thing's going to be raining fire, too, and then it'll melt the snow. Then all of a sudden ice will come up again and it'll be iced over. It's like, just come on. What are you going to pick?
Wet and heavy.
And heavy.
My first adult feature.
That's right. Your first and last one that you had, right?
That's right. It's a brief moment, but celebrated nonetheless.
You had briefs on in that moment, too, didn't you?
I did.
That's the whole thing.
Boxer briefs.
Boxer briefs. That's the only way to go.
Only way to go.
I love those. That's the only way to go.
Agreed. So, before we talk about everything.
Yes, everything.
We're at Buona. We're at Buona in Countryside. I got us the same exact thing.
Oh, you got the
I got the
Seitan,
yes. The Italian Beefless.
Yes.
Which I've come to learn just from doing these few episodes of Car Con Carne. Musicians are all about this.
You know, because we're healthy people.
Or maybe it's just, maybe it's that the musicians I interview are all of a certain age and they're at that point where they're like, oh, wait, I got to slow down.
I mean, at a certain age where you're actually even close to the half-century mark or above. That's what it comes down to.
Right, exactly. Like,
right.
I got to throttle this shit back.
It's like, it's like, can I get youth again? Can I capture it in a bottle? No? Well, give me the Seitan then. Give me that.
So we both got the Italian Beefless. And it's great. Have you had this before?
Yes, I have. I have.
I am absolutely a fan.
When it first came out, I was like, I had to get it. And it was just amazing.
And I got us both cheese fries, because you can't be too healthy.
No, well, I mean, it didn't say anything about health. I like taste and some health. Look at these.
Maybe I just ordered fries. No, cheese fries. Here we go.
It comes with the separate cheese. Yep.
Which I prefer.
No, I do too.
You control the saturation.
Yes, you do. Because then when it runs out, then you got to start using it as a sopping kind of thing to soften it all up.
Exactly.
Or you lose your finger and you paint it on.
So yeah, it's interesting. The musicians I've had lately have been all about the Italian Beefless. Tom from the T's, Italian Beefless.
I'm going to put this right here.
Scott Lucas of Local H, Italian Beefless.
Refined gentlemen as well.
Yes.
Refined gentlemen.
Of course, Herb from Liars Club couldn't understand the concept of a vegan beef. I think it enraged him.
Refined gentleman as well.
Yes.
I'll say, love him.
Love him to death.
Love him to death. Refined gentleman. We all have our things that we do.
By the way, one of the many things I like about Buona, I use the restroom beforehand.
And it's clean.
It's super clean, and they have a hand dryer on the sink. They have like a hand dryer apparatus.
Oh, so it makes it really easy for you to like take everything and just be done.
Right. I thought it was a soap dispenser at first. I'm like, oh no, not at Buona Countryside.
Oh, and you got blown right there at the sink. Though.
I did.
I mean, that's just, you can't beat that right there.
All right, so, oh God, that smell of the giardiniera. The Buona giardiniera is for real.
Remember when we had
we went to a different Italian beef place years ago.
Wow.
And we had so much fun. We ate our Italian beef sandwiches. We decided after we were done recording
have two more.
To have two more. Completely irresponsible. Although you are a doctor, and I asked for your
medical
opinion.
advice.
Yeah. And
at that point, I was off duty. I wasn't saying anything that was real. I mean, that was horrible. I mean, I literally, I think I had like bypass surgery after that. We talked about that.
That was literally the only time in my life I've had 2 Italian beef sandwiches in one night.
I think we had 3 though.
I don't know, but check this out. This is the Italian Beefless. It smells so good.
And it tastes amazing. It does.
And you can see the bread is soaked. It's not quite baptized level, but it's wet.
Oh, yeah. And giardiniera on there.
Their giardiniera is delicious. Mm-hmm. It's not just heat for the sake of heat.
No, it isn't. It's a spice. It's a little sweet. And this is, as a person who no longer eats meat on a regular basis, I mean, this is fantastic. I mean, when I had this, I brought it home, and the kids were like, Dad, what is that meat there? I'm like, oh, no, it's not. And they had it, and they're like, oh, I can't believe it. Mm-hmm. And my wife thought the same thing. She's like, oh, it's pretty good.
I will say it is incredibly difficult to eat in the car.
Mm-hmm. But we've done this. We're veterans at this.
See, I got soft, Daryl. During the pandemic, recording from my home office.
Oh, yeah.
Not eating while on Zoom. Like, I forgot how to do this.
I've been in the car forever. I mean, this is... I mean, I'm glad to be back in the car.
Mm-hmm.
Because
here.
This is like being back in the real world in some sense, you know? I mean, we're both, hanging out. We're both vaxxed and boosted.
We are. Let's start there. How can we not?
Okay.
Dr. Daryl Wilson, let's talk about COVID. I guess my first question for you is, what the fuck?
I don't know. It's, well, right now, I mean, we're in a whole different place than we were 2 years ago, right? And you have to keep that in mind. That's what sometimes we forget. And, I mean, I don't forget. I mean, how I've been, throttle all the way up, down, pedal to the metal for 2 years straight, right? Mm-hmm. And my other colleagues and, all the members of the healthcare team, it's been kind of crazy. But we are at a point now that we have this protection that's there. The virus is no longer novel. We've experienced it, right? Mm-hmm. So that's good. We have some, cellular immunity because we've got these vaccines that we've received, boosters as well. That gives us, some more protections. The virus itself is mutated as well, and people get freaked out all the time. But I mean, the virus is trying to find a way to, have hosts and not kill them.
Right.
It needs a vector. It needs a vector and a host to continue to propagate. So if you kill off all your hosts, that's kind of counterintuitive. It's kind of against what you should do. So you hope that this strain that becomes more dominant, and it has its chance to mutates into something that also may be easily transmitted, but is not going to cause severe disease, which we're seeing that.
So is Omicron in fact less potentially dangerous than Delta?
I mean, it appears that way. I mean, that's the thing we're seeing. I mean, at least from the patients I'm seeing, the majority of individuals that I have seen, if you have been, vaccinated and boosted, you're not being hospitalized. The people being hospitalized, primarily 90% of them are individuals who aren't vaccinated, and that either comes from either your choice or because you can't be vaccinated. I get it. There's all kinds of things that happen that make that occur, And this is not about judgment. This is about just saying this is just what we're seeing.
Right.
And you make a decision, or a decision is made for you, and things like that can happen. So 90% of the people are unvaccinated that are being, admitted to the hospital. And, those are the ones that end up in the ICU, sometimes, not all of them. Of those that get breakthrough infections, the individuals are really over 75 years old, and they have a multitude of other medical conditions, or they're immunocompromised. And,
of the immunized.
Yes, or the ones who have, the
vaccinated
ones. And even the ones when you look at vaccinated and boosted individuals who have breakthrough infections, I'm not seeing them get hospitalized, and that's the good thing. So we have protection built in. We're not where we were when we were kind of walking around unarmored, and then the chance of being struck down was higher years ago, and to think when we had a more dangerous field to navigate, we did a much better job of containing things. So I guess when stakes are higher, people want to act in a different way. I mean, that's the kind of the ironic thing. I mean, it'd be weird, remember in the beginning of this when we had, vaccinations being doled out in categories of people who were put into the category of 1A, 1B. It was almost like, you were in Logan's Run and you were, a Sandman or a runner.
That's exactly it. And I'll never not appreciate that reference.
And so when things were scarce, it's like NFTs, for Christ's sake. Make the vaccine an NFT, and then suddenly you're going to see it gets rare. People want it. I mean, that's just me being a joker, but I mean, it's like that's the kind of thing you run into when suddenly there's scarcity, we go crazy. When there's abundance, we go, what the hell? Why would you give me that? It's worthless. But it's not. We're seeing that we're getting protection, and so where we are today is very different than 2 years ago. But we have this virus that is easily transmittable, and people, when they get sick, they suddenly don't know what to do, because we've had this constant, reminder that death is around the door, death is just waiting for you. And right now I'm not seeing a lot of that. We're not having case fatality rates going up.
And
so
how do you know when someone comes in with COVID that it's Omicron and not Delta and not?
I mean, we don't.
We're
not testing for that right now. I mean, it's when you look at the cohort that's out there. I mean, you have to take odds. That's what you're doing, and primarily that's probably going to be what it is when you're finding individuals who are vaccinated who get sick, who get exposed and get ill, who a lot of them are asymptomatic, and they get tested for other reasons. We gather that it probably is Omicron, and the thing about it too is you don't forget the things that we should have learned from all this over time. Whatever viral illness you have, don't expose other people. Wear a mask if you're going to be, doing anything. Just, stay home till you're well, and wash your hands like Grandma told you. I mean, that's the simple stuff. We have to do the simple things right, and then we'll be okay. And thank God, that with evolution and the way that the virus continues to change, we hope that, hey, it becomes less and less of a killer. And you know what? It's one of those things now you look at it and go, well, do we get Omicron? Because if I get it, I'm going to... Yeah, people are getting it like left and right?
I joked earlier that everyone got it for Christmas.
Yeah, I mean, Merry Christmas to you. There you go. Ho, 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 here's your cold and some Omicron for you.
Right.
And Krampus is sitting back there laughing, throwing it at you. The Grinch is like coughing in your face. I think that, it's not just avoiding this one. It's like maybe avoiding it till you get the next mutation that you hope is even less likely to cause you to get sick. And with coronaviruses, they've been the cause of the common cold. Maybe that's what we're, evolving into. I don't know. I can't say for sure. I just know what I'm seeing right now is that we're not at the same phase we were 2 years ago, where it's like, my God, you're on death's door when you come in.
Thank God. Well, as you're talking about hospitalizations, there is that narrative of vaccinated people being hospitalized.
Mm-hmm.
Did you just essentially clear that up by saying it's the elderly and...
Yeah, the people I'm seeing are primarily older patients with a significant number of medical conditions that put them at risk. But even then, they're not the sicker ones. They're not the sickest ones. So that's a good thing, too.
With this almost ethical pushback on getting vaccinated, which you see, which is enraging, and it is what it is on social media, How much of that do you experience in the hospital? People saying, who come in sick and it's too late for them to get vaccinated.
All the time. But, I don't have judgment, right?
Of course.
I mean, there's no reason to do that. I've learned over this time, the thing that would make me go completely insane is to have this mindset that I have control over other people. I can only control me, right? And my role is to, one, see my patients and try to work towards the virtuous thing of doing the best I can for them. And whatever fate comes out of that, I have no control over that.
Right.
I could do everything, have every medication, have spin wheels, invoke Cthulhu. I could do all kinds of things. And no matter what, whatever fate is going to be, fate's going to be. And I have to accept that. And they have to accept it too.
Yeah.
But you make decisions that only affect you. And so I'm not there to judge you. I can't. If I kept doing that, it would only make me go insane, and I wouldn't be able to do what I need to do every day.
Yeah, you wouldn't be a good doctor if you're doing
No. I couldn't do what I need to do. It's hard. That takes work. Because your inclination to initially respond in an emotional way. Because listen, emotions are real, and a lot of my friends think I have none, and it's not true. Your emotions happen because you have an emotional response to things. If you get angry, you're going to have, your blood pressure go up, your heart rate goes up, pupils dilate. You're like, But the thing you have to do is recognize it. Then you have to sit there and say, why do I feel this way? And then realize, where does it come from? If I'm angry because someone's talking smack about me, it's like, hold on. First of all, why am I so angry about? Why am I having their value judgment, become my value judgment? And then number two, maybe they're right. Maybe there's something I've done to cross them, and maybe I need to fix that. That's what I need to figure out before I sit back and continue to snip about it and cause more ulcers for me to get, and start snapping at my family and things like that. It's not worthwhile. It's a waste of the precious little life that we have, because you never know when that sword of Damocles is going to fall down on top of your head and you're done. And you wasted your day being angry about some stupid tweet or some stupid thing that said. It's like, what a waste of your time.
It is. And one of the reasons I love you so much, you reference the sword of Damocles and Lovecraft in the same conversation.
Yes, like that racist Lovecraft?
Yeah. Does your doctor do that? I don't think so. Dr. Strange would reference Lovecraft.
He would.
He would
do that. He's dead,
Oh, yeah. Did Clea replace him? Is that what happened?
I don't know. I haven't read it all. I'm still behind on the comic, but it's weird.
Why would they kill Doctor Strange?
It's a weird... You got to read it. Okay. I'm reading it right now, and I'm going, nah.
All right. As you sneak in a couple bites, I'll pose the next question. Since we're talking about vaccines, and since you illustrated the fact that the unvaccinated definitely have a greater risk, there's still conversation, vaccine hesitancy. What can you tell people right now about the vaccines that's important for them to know?
I mean, there's, we all of us that are vaccinated aren't dropping like flies.
We're eating a pound of beef.
Yeah, we're not being hospitalized. I mean, that's the thing. I've not seen anybody hospitalized from the vaccine, but I've seen untold numbers of people hospitalized because of contracting COVID. So that's the thing.
Are they safe?
Oh yeah, my kids. We wanted to sign them up for this trials to get them beforehand, but I mean, they got them all right when they could get them. So, yeah, the thing that we're finding is that I think about vaccine hesitant individuals. I think the problem is that people want to kind of beat them with a chain or something, and that doesn't change anybody's behavior. You can't do that. You have to just listen to people and try to answer their questions and really hear them. That's what people want to do most of the time. In life, people want to be heard, right? They want to be seen, they want to be heard, and they want to know that somebody's listening to them. And,
I totally agree with that.
And it sometimes takes a lot of work to hear somebody say something over and over again, and you go, wow, I've never heard that before. You got to kind of change this. I've never heard that before versus, God, you're stupid. Because that's what people think you're saying to them, is that I can't believe how stupid you are.
That's social media right now.
Right, but that's the thing. Turn that off. It doesn't do anything for, it to have a constant hammer hitting you in the head and somebody's saying this hammer's going to make you think better. It's like, how can you think when the hammer's hitting you? And instead, maybe just let somebody verbally vomit what they're going to say, and then clean up a little bit and just go, that's interesting, I've never heard that before, and then keep slowly etching away at that boulder that's in front of you. I mean, the Grand Canyon didn't, form overnight, right? It was etched away with erosion from water trickling through that canyon over time, and it formed this magnificent thing that we see. It takes time. Now, right, you could say, but Daryl, you know what? There's not a lot of time, because time is of the essence when people can get sick and they can die. And you're right. So you have to have some urgency to your discussion. Mm-hmm. But what you can't do is try to, force somebody through fear to do something. I mean, that doesn't work. That's why we live in a world full of so many anxious people, because everything is motivated by fear versus motivated by something that has virtue. You have to live with these 4 virtues. You got to be courageous. You got to go through, think with justice in mind. Have some self-control and use wisdom. And if you can't do those 4 things, then you will never have the keys to a happy life or a good life. It's just going to be, you're going to be squandering everything. If you say you're courageous, but it's not for a just reason, you're not being courageous. You're a coward, and you're doing crazy things that aren't going to make you, wise in any way. And you're not going to make your life better, which then people can look at you and you can evangelize from that standpoint and go, I'm living this way. And I'm not going to force it down your throat, but if you want to be happy for the rest of your life, don't make a pretty woman your wife. My personal point of view, get an ugly girl to marry you. The old song.
So let me ask you a question that you're probably not asked as often during the pandemic, or where we're at right now. Over the past 2 years, which has been, I don't need to say what it's been. We all know what it's been.
Insane.
What's something good or hopeful or inspiring that you've taken away from the past couple of years?
That that the real things that you start to realize what's really important in life, like your family and your friends.
Doing this.
Yeah, this. I mean, the material stuff. I mean, you have a moment to sit and you're still, right? Because we didn't have to run around and go to events because we couldn't. You didn't have to take your kids to 3,000 events that you think are making them into better human beings, when in fact making better human beings is to hang out with your family and to just show them that, hey, this is important because we're together, and it could all end in a moment. I mean, that's the silly thing. In the beginning, remember talking about this, we had to have conversations with my kids, my wife and I, about the possibility of us getting exposed to this when we didn't have any protections, getting sick, getting hospitalized, and possibly dying.
Yeah.
And this is talking to, at the time, they were 7 and 8, and 5 and 6, that's crazy.
And as parents across the country were having similar conversations, yours, I'm sure, seemed extra resonant because every time the kids saw you walk out the door, you were going to the hospital.
Right. And then I came home, I had my clothes changed, I washed my stuff, I didn't touch them before, I took a shower and, did, like I said, a Silkwood scrub and came out of that, And it's like,
there goes Daddy off to war.
Right, and that's the silly, and it's like my wife had to do it too. She worked in the COVID tent and all those things. It's like, that's the kind of things you had to have that conversation. But as we were all together, it's like those moments were important.
Yeah, for sure.
You had time to sit still and just take in that these moments can never be taken away. And that's all you have are moments, right? I mean, every moment you have is your last moment, if you think about it. Mm-hmm. And if you meditate on that for a little bit, you want to make those times, even if it's garbage time, it's just special because you're sitting around and you're just laughing at some silly, cartoon or some drawing that somebody made, or somebody, the dog does something stupid, and you're like, that's stuff you can never get back. If you're sitting there thinking, I wish I worked more, I wish I did this, it's like, why?
Yeah.
In your deathbed,
no one says that.
Yeah, on your deathbed, you're going to go, well, I'm glad I got those reports done. And it's like, no, I'm glad I spent, just time. We went to the Arboretum yesterday, my family.
Which I've heard is lovely, the Morton Arboretum.
Went around the Arboretum, and it was a great day. It was nice and sunny before we now got, Hoth that suddenly showed up. We're now, we go from Tatooine to Naboo to Hoth in moments.
Nerd.
And I know I'm a nerd. And so we're walking around the Arboretum, and I wouldn't always go on these walks and hikes with my family to go to the Arboretum. I'm like, I'll go. But I went, and it was just wonderful just to walk around. And we saw some beaver, swimming in the water. A bunch of ducks were hanging out. We skipped rocks across the pond. Just simple stuff that we didn't have a TV on. We didn't have TV screens, computers, nothing like that. And it was just really nice. And my daughter said, hey, this is awesome that you came, Dad, that we did this. And I'm like, that's important. That's like the stuff that the important things are right there in front of you. And the pandemic and going through all this, you start to realize what truly is important and what you really don't need. Like all the material stuff you already have is already broken, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, I got, all these things that are I've worked so hard for, but why? Because the things that you really value are right in front of you, your friends, your people that you can associate with. When we went on that whole excursion to the Marvel thing, mm-hmm. like I told you, and I told you guys, you and Dennis, I'm like, this is important just to hang out and just to do this. We don't get to do this. And, Zoom hangouts were great, but to see you and have the opportunity because we're vaccinated and we were, all, it's like, I got to see you, talk to you, enjoy your presence, go walk around, geek out about all the Marvel stuff.
Yeah, when you're on the Zoom is flawed for all the reasons. You're looking at the clock, you're aware that you're at your house and there's other stuff going on. Removing yourself from that same environment and being out in the world with people who you love and enjoy.
Yes.
It's everything. I don't know if you've seen the movie Don't Look Up yet.
Not yet.
So a lot of people are talking about it. It's the Leonardo DiCaprio, Jennifer Lawrence movie on Netflix. I guess mixed reviews. I really enjoyed it. It was probably about 30 minutes longer than it needed to be. But I'm not really spoiling anything, but Leo's last line in the movie was something along the lines of, in the end, I guess we did have everything we needed. Something like that, in paraphrase.
Yeah.
And, that summary is, I think, exactly what you're talking about.
Oh, yeah. We always realize that. And it's like, as I get older, I had to say my birthday, and my birthday, my mom was in town really for 3 weeks. She was in town for Thanksgiving, my birthday, and it was amazing having my mom here. And my mom, thank you, sir. Mm-hmm. It's like you look at your parents and they age. There's health things that they can have, and you realize how lucky you are to have any moment you have with them.
Sure.
And it was just amazing just to have her there. Sometimes just sitting there and be like, my mom's sitting right there, and that's awesome. My daughters get to be with grandma and hang out. My wife loves hanging out with her. It's like that was important. And so for my birthday, we had people over, and just people that I just care about, and that was all I wanted. I can get anything I want, right? Material-wise.
Right.
And don't need it. And when I was asked by my family, what did you want? What do you need for your birthday? I'm like, I have everything I need. I have everything I want. And I truly meant that. I put some social media post up about it, and I fucking mean that. I mean, people that I interact with, even if it's like a tiny little interaction, I've come to really cherish that because you don't know when that's going to happen again.
Right.
So if anything came out of this, besides people learning that, if you're sick, stay home, wash your hands, it's like the little stuff that goes on around you, the petty stuff that you think is so important that makes you go crazy for, it's not worth it. Just enjoy every little moment you have because it could be your last.
Is that existential thinking?
I think it's kind of stoic, in the sense of like contemplating and meditating on death and realizing that, like memento mori, remember you will die. Mm-hmm.
Also, one of the best X-Files episodes.
Yes, so I mean, here you go. I mean, it's one of those things where I'm going to put this cheese there and we're going to start dipping in. And thinking about that and thinking, yeah, it's not just thinking you're going to die. I look at, you look around at your family, your friend, they're all going to die.
Yeah.
You don't know when they're going to go. So why have an interaction with somebody that's poor?
Right.
You don't know if that's the last interaction you're going to have with them. And might not be yours. It might be that they're gone.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I first I thought about, whenever I thought about that whole thing, I thought about, well, I'm going to die someday. I'm going to die someday. And I'm thinking, I see young people die. It's my brother-in-law died. And to see my in-laws have to deal with that, that's the kind of stuff where you go, parents lose their children. And so why argue with your kid about some stuff that doesn't really make any sense?
Agreed.
Why get caught up in the mundane little petty things that don't mean anything? Just let it go. And that's an important thing. Just let stuff go. So yeah, when people don't get vaccinated, that's okay. You just gotta let it go. I can only control me and my response to stuff. And I'm not going to let that bring me down, because I don't know if it's the last time I'm going to be here.
I'm double dipping because you have your own sea sauce.
Yes, you have your own sauce. You can double.
I feel like I need to audible what I'm doing here. I don't want to come across like some kind of monster.
Sorry, I went on a total rant about
it's not a rant
stuff, and I mean kind of delving into this philosophical craziness.
Yeah, I want to talk about the punk rock band you're in.
Okay.
But first, I should mention, this year's wrapping up, Dr. Daryl Wilson.
It is.
2021. 2021 is also the 40th anniversary of Buona. 40 years of the family business. There's a lot to love on the menu, as we've come to learn right now. But at the heart of it is their signature Italian beef. Mm-hmm. The best. Take 10% off your online or mobile order with my promo code Carne10. All right, so that punk rock band.
Yes.
The Bollweevils.
Yes.
Bollweevils.
Yeah. Maybe spit up this chip. Yes, my band.
I like to speak in anthems.
You do. I mean, you like to... Boy, that was good. Uh-huh. I mean, boy, you didn't say it's like, this cheese is broken. It's like,
I did that at Riot Fest. I didn't want to...
You did. You always have a little,
My back
pun.
is broken. We're eating Italian Beefless again.
Right.
Uh-huh.
You have a pun for that all the time. It is a pun.
Well, here's the problem. It's not even a problem. Liniment and Tonic,
yes,
the single, is one of the catchiest things you've ever written.
It is, actually. I agree. My wife said it's a jaunty tune.
This is not me saying this because I'm your friend. It is catchy AF, as the kids say. Mm-hmm. And it rattles around my head. My back is broken.
I'm glad.
I'm eating cheese fries in my car again.
It was a song written out of fun, and it was one of those things we kind of threw together as a little fun little ditty. Things came together. We just got it out there, and Kyle Kinane said something about that song.
Did he really?
He did.
Well, he's a friend of yours, right?
He is a friend of mine. He said something. I'm not trying to drop names here, but he said, "Hey," he played it at a show here, and he goes, "Hey, that cover song you played was pretty good. What the hell's cover is that?" I'm like, "What cover?" That last song, On My Back, bro. I said, "No, that's one of ours. It's an original."
He thought it was so good that it must have been a cover?
Yes. He said, that song's way good, man.
Like it was above you're punching above your weight class?
I'm like, wow. I'm like, thanks, comedian. It better be a bit you're doing.
Hey, listen, I know you don't like to name drop it. What does Joe Principe think?
Oh, he loves that song. I mean, he loves all of our songs. He's like, he's like like our ace. He got us to take those songs, because you've heard many of the songs from the LP that's forthcoming.
That's my next question.
He had told us to take those songs and take them to the blasting room to get mixed and mastered. And like, you heard the first mixes of them, and then you heard the final stuff, and it's like, well, Chris Beeble, loved that guy. He did a great job. Larry Livermore, mastered it. So the guys,
he's been involved with some stuff.
Yeah, some things, and it was all on Joe's. He did it in a coy way. I texted him stuff. I sent him the songs, and he was like, "Oh, that sounds good. You should think about doing it." Blah blah blah. I'm like, I don't have that kind of scratch. What are you talking? I'm not in some band that has, that kind of thing that may be rising against the tide of things. I'm not in that band. And he goes, no, you should do that. I'm like, I don't have that kind of money. And so he goes, no, it's not that expensive. I'm like, what do you think? I'm made of money? You think I'm a doctor or something? And so he says, well, okay. And he didn't pursue it more. But then there's like all this rumbling, and finally it was like, our label was like, you should get it mixed someplace else.
Your label being Red Scare.
Red Scare. So Toby said, and then Brendan said it too. And he was like,
This has been an especially name-droppy episode.
Am I doing that now?
No, this is the world you're in, bro.
Jeez, I'm sorry.
So Brendan Kelly.
Yeah, that's...
Of the Lawrence Arms.
I would say more the Broadways. Or Slapstick.
Mm-hmm.
Or the Wandering Birds, whichever one you want to say. So he said, no, you guys got to, mix that differently. It's like, want to put out your stuff, got to mix it. So we did. We took it, and it was pulling teeth to get that done with the band. We battled about it for a little bit. But...
Did you miss fighting?
Do I? No. I really don't. So we got it mixed there, and it sounded amazing. And then Joe comes back later and he goes, yeah, I said, why didn't you just tell me to just take it there? I mean, you should have just said it. Well, I didn't want to force anything, but I'm like, I trust your opinion on it.
For sure.
But you just don't tell me things to placate me. Just tell me the truth. I mean, if it sounded, it didn't sound...
You're a doctor. Give it to me straight.
Yeah, just give it to me straight. I didn't want to do that. And I appreciate that you think you're going to hurt my feelings, but you're not going to hurt my feelings. So you can tell me that sucks or you don't think that sounds okay. That's okay. I mean, younger me, going back before I became, wise to the way of living, would have been like, fuck you.
Mm-hmm.
But not
fuck
anymore.
You, rock star.
Right, exactly. Major label.
Yeah.
We're punk. That sounds punk rock. So, could have said that, but no, it's. I'm really excited about it. We just got to get these last songs recorded and done, which has been a climb, and then we'll have an LP sometime next year.
So for sure, 2022. It's got to happen, right?
Well, that's what we're pushing.
Okay.
Who knows? There could be another variant that comes out. I don't know what's going to happen.
Fair. And based on the trajectory of vinyl pressing, a record out probably by 2026, 2027.
Listen.
Thanks, Adele.
Right, exactly. Things happen the way they happen. You know what? It'll get there.
It'll get there.
It'll get there. And you know what? It'll be amazing. And you'll be happy. And it'll be what you expected. Your back will be broken by the time you get it, though.
So a question I don't know if I've ever asked you. I don't think I have.
Really? You haven't asked me this question? This is a rarity.
Well, because it's an obvious interview question, and I try to avoid obvious interview questions, but it's something that I kind of want to know, and I don't think I've ever asked you. I go record shopping with my son all the time. It's one of the great joys of my life is to go record shopping with my 20-year-old kid. Like, oh my God, this is...
I used to do stuff you pick up.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, yeah.
So we were at Bucket of Blood last week, and he picked up a Ray Gun album.
Yeah.
And he picked up the first Bad Brains album.
Yeah.
And just elemental punk rock stuff.
Yes.
Bad Brains, wrote the blueprint for that type of hardcore music. And it excites me that he's digging into that stuff and kind of building a foundation. What were those records for you?
That started me off?
Yeah.
In music or punk rock?
I'll say, let's go both.
Okay. So, like, music, I've said this in other interviews before, music stuff, my family always played music in the house. Always. And my dad and mom had, like, records galore, like, huge vinyl collections. And...
Is it all gone now?
My mom still has it.
Awesome.
So, most of the stuff that was played in my house, it was a real menagerie of music, but a lot of funk, soul, comedy records and stuff like the old Red Fox stuff. That of course, little kids shouldn't hear that, but I'm like, hey, it's Red Fox. But he had, the unfortunate, guy who's turned out to be a pretty skanky person, Bill Cosby.
You can get those records, I think, for free at every record store now.
Probably.
Every clearance bin in the city and suburbs has Cosby
take
records.
This and burn this now, please. It's very, touch it, it's filth. But we had all those things, and taking things at the time, that's what you had at the time. The chicken heart was great. But we had, you know, like Sly and the Family Stone, Parliament Funkadelic, Stevie Wonder, you know, Isley Brothers, you know, the Jackson 5, everything you could think about that. You know, Brothers Johnson was one of my favorite freaking bands, and as a kid, I love Brothers Johnson, I just do, and it's like, you know, Strawberry Letter 23, you know, is, you know, you hear that do 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 do.
I'm gonna play it right now.
I mean, that is like, you can't. You hear these songs, and I said 23, it's 22, but you hear these songs, and it like brings back memories of my childhood that were really joyous, right? You know,
we all have those songs, those albums.
Yeah, so that's it. But then I heard, you know, my sister started playing like Prince, and she had the B-52s and Devo and other things. I'm like, oh, well, this is cool.
I'm going through a Devo phase. I go through them like every year or so. I'm in the middle of one right now.
And I mean, Riot Fest, they were awesome, by the way.
Oh my God,
that was amazing. You know, and so I got to then, you know, start listening to some metal, like MTV came out or whatever, and, you know, I heard AC/DC, I saw Iron Maiden, and I'm like, holy crap, this is amazing. And I started liking metal, and I remember being told by some kids, you can't listen to this because that's white people music.
Oh, like, Jesus, God.
And I was savvy enough, I guess, as a kid to go, no, music is only black and white on the paper it's written on, and that's me as a young asshole, you know, young upstart, you know, and so I listened to that.
God, just hearing that shit, like knowing how early that starts.
Yes, is well, I mean,
I know it's there.
You're taught that by, you know, if you ever think you're not going to run into people that are morons every day, then you're going to be the person.
Oh no, I'm aware. I'm clear on that.
You know, and so I you know, listened to metal, and then it was like I started skateboarding very poorly, and you know, my parents,
you either have that or you don't.
Nah, I didn't have it. I thought I did, but I didn't have any of it. You know, my best trick was no comply. I did over a bench one time, and it was awesome. I'm like, that's the best trick I've ever done.
Good night, everybody.
I should quit skating. I didn't. Because Tony Hawk could do better. And so, my parents were getting divorced. You know, angry youth. You know, moving, just, you know, whatever. I was just pissed. And of course, I was looking for something a little bit more aggressive and angry. And I was skateboarding, and that was my outlet to, you know, instead of self-harm, it's like maybe I can do some tricks, but I might be harming myself while I'm skating. And this one kid I was skating with brought this tape, and he said, here's the tape, listen to this music, you might like this. And it was the Adolescents, it was the Germs, it was the Angry Samoans. And those are the three bands.
That was the holy trinity for you.
Yes, and like Angry Samoans is like one of my favorite bands. So Back from Samoa is like one of my favorite records ever. And then the Germs. Just when I heard Darby Crash, I was like hooked. I'm like, oh my God, that's how I feel. That's how I feel. His voice is how I feel.
That's amazing.
And so I started delving into more punk rock. So I started listening to Circle Jerks and you know, Black Flag, you know, just finding more and more bands to delve into.
Now, were you hanging out at record stores back then, or were you just like trading tapes with friends?
Trading tapes with friends, but then I'd go to record stores and buy some of the stuff. And so then it came down to moving to Chicago, and that's when I was introduced to Naked Raygun. I was already listening to, you know, Bad Religion and to the Descendants and All and stuff like that. So I was like already listening to those bands because I was a skater. So I mean, I could get introduced to stuff, and, you know, going through Thrasher magazine and figuring out who you're going to listen to and things like that. But then it was like I got introduced to Naked Raygun.
Was Raygun one of the first bands you were aware of on the Chicago level?
Yeah, and the Effigies too. But like Raygun was like it.
Oh yeah.
And that was like, being introduced to them really made me go the deepest of dives into punk rock. And that's when I became like, well, this is like another, moving here, I was a senior in high school. I was really pissed, you know, and I was like, hey, well, actually between my senior and junior year, I was like junior, senior year, I was pissed, but met people through shows, because you can always meet people at shows. That was always another family you had, through skating and through, you know, punk rock. And so delving into Chicago and going to shows was it. and that's where I've met people that are still my friends to this day. You know, will always be my friends. They will be there to support.
Which,
me.
how many people can you say from high school, let's say, you still talk to, as opposed to the punk rock community? You're probably a bad example.
I am a bad example of that. Bring back Paul Catani, my best friend. Who else?
I was trying to make a case for punk rock, but
my colleagues I work with, my buddy Pete, I work with. So yeah, no, I can keep going on.
Wait, Handsome Pete from the Bollweevils?
No. This is one of the docs I work with, Pete, to residence with me and stuff. So no, so Handsome Pete, the best looking guy in the band. Yes, Handsome Pete, great teeth, great chin, everything about him is perfect.
I just, I never sat down and interviewed him before. I usually, I keep you all to myself.
Right, you see my ugly face all the time. You're so used to it.
Stop it.
I'm common.
But Pete's just looking at me. I'm like, what's he doing in this band? Like,
At that point right there, what's he doing in this band? He's glamming this band up too much. That is what it is. We have to have something that actually is eye candy. Like everything else is like, oh, Daryl's entertaining and fun and blah blah. Pete's rugged. Ken's a tough guy too.
Ken's like textbook Chicago.
Yes, Ken is Chicago.
Ken looks like a Chicago cop that got busted back to desk sergeant.
Running some dirty stuff on the side.
Yeah.
So
you're off the street,
right? Oh, come on, you can't bust me down. And it's like, so you got us three jackholes, and then you got to have something that is actually going to keep people looking up.
Sure.
I jump around too much, you can't really tell what's going on. Then you get me in a moment like this, and you get it close, and go, oh my God, what's that blemish? What is going on?
It's like when I saw 311 the last time I saw them, I'm like, Nick Hexum's too good looking to be playing any kind of rock and roll.
There's just good-looking people, and then there's people like Pete who are extremely good-looking. I mean, it is. It's like, So, I mean, we have to have something, that if we had trading cards, his card would be the one. If the album came out like with a Kiss kind of cover of each one, that'd be the one that would sell the most.
It's like, I got a Fitzner.
Oh, Jesus Christ! It's like, come on. It's like there's things that you get that everybody's got their own thing, and Pete is a amazing drummer, and he's amazing looking. Yeah, you had to point that out, didn't you? You messed up my fucking stories. You asked me some boilerplate question, then you go off into how we're a bunch of ugly mugs and we got a good-looking dude in the band.
You're a handsome son of a bitch. You know that.
Ruggedly handsome.
It's like ruggedly handsome.
Ruggedly handsome. That's the thing.
You ooze charisma.
There you go. Charisma. Yes.
Are you talking about the Kiss song from Dynasty?
Kiss, yeah.
That's one of my favorite Kiss songs.
There you go.
The album's kind of a throwaway. Rolling Stones cover and all, but Charisma.
Right. I'm a musical savant like that, where I throw things out there and you have a tiny little crack in there, and I just bust right through it. Some crazy.
Is it my body or is it my brain? Do I drive you insane? Yeah.
Charisma.
What is my charisma?
Yeah. So no,
it's a Gene Simmons classic.
So yeah, we had the Naked Raygun came up, and that was like my thing into Chicago. But if you talk about the records that got me into punk rock, it was Back from Samoa, it was Adolescence, and Germs, the original Germs record.
Which, they got you hooked. Not a bad starter kit for anyone.
No. And then it's like, got Circle Jerk Group Sex, and that's like my kind of Mount Rushmore of things to throw them up there when you talk about that. And of course, listening to the Descendants and, Milo Goes to College, like such an amazing record, and my favorite band, by the way. Honestly, it's like my favorite band, because that taught me something about pop hooks in songs.
Yeah,
that you could do and still be a punk band, and that's where I aspire to have that kind of a thing. Though we're nowhere near like that at all. I mean, my God, we're melodic hardcore, or whatever you want to call it.
If you take Ramones off the table.
Yeah.
Were Descendants the first pop punk band?
Yes. What about the Buzzcocks, though? See?
Buzzcocks definitely came before.
So
but I don't think of them as pop punk.
But you consider them as a power pop band?
No, I just always think of them as
Pop?
punk.
But do you, though?
Ever Fallen in Love is a punk song.
It is, but it's very poppy.
Orgasm Addict is a punk song.
But it's so poppy.
Descendants is one of the first.
Yes, they are. I agree. They're the DNA of all of that.
Yes.
But then that comes from something too, and like I said, thinking of, yes, I will say it because they're my favorite band. But I'm trying to think of other things that would fit into that vein, and I do sometimes consider the Buzzcocks to be like poppy.
I get it. See, I can make a case for Ramones just as easily.
You could, but I thought they're more garagey.
This is a dangerous rabbit hole to go down.
I know.
So I'm going to stop it right now.
I mean, that's the thing. It's like
You start assigning genres to bands.
I know, but you know what it is? It's just music, and it's just good. It just made me feel a part of something. My feelings were expressed in music and in songs that I could sit there and go, I relate to that. That's how I feel right now. Like these people were in my head and figuring out how I felt, and it was there in a song. I could sit there and release all this pent up rage to.
You know what I learned from Ramones?
What did you learn from the Ramones?
I don't need a good haircut to be successful.
I guess it's true, but you have a good haircut.
Thanks.
I mean, you really do.
I go see Mike the Punk Rock Barber.
You do have a good haircut.
Or over in North Center. He does a fine job.
Your beard is always trimmed nice. I mean, it's all
I
good.
try. I shaved a little bit for you.
I shaved a little bit for you too. I did, but you can't see it right now. That's in your porno that you made.
That's right. What was that?
Heavy and wet.
Heavy and heavy.
Wet and heavy. Wet and heavy. The Wet and Heavy 2. The shaved version.
I'd like to thank Buona Beef for sponsoring the show this week.
Is ever going to end on that note right there? Who's end on some note like that?
Okay, Daryl, you're a delight.
Thanks, James. You're a delight too.
Dr. Daryl Wilson from the Bollweevils. He's a real doctor, he's a real punk rock hero.
Kind of.
And the challenge whenever I record this with a guest is the guest never really gets to properly eat because I'm always peppering the guest with questions.
I ate the sandwich.
You did a good job. Did you get enough napkins?
Yeah, there's some right here.
Okay, good.
I mean, I got cheese in here still. I mean, we're doing it.
All right. Thank you for watching. If you like this, please tell a friend. Support his band. Like he said, hopefully, knock wood, new album next year. In the meantime, stream Linneman and Tonic and let that just sit in your head and take you into the new year.
Oh, yeah. But you got to play that at midnight right into 2022. That's right. The anthem.
My back is broken. I'm saying Happy New Year again.
Yes. Happy New Year, man.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks.